Ladies and gentlemen, everyone keeps waiting for the perfect salary, the perfect job, the perfect opportunity. Let me tell you a blunt truth. If you can't get wealthy on a small income, you won't magically become smart on a big one. Most people don't have a money problem. They have a behavior problem. They leak cash the same way a cracked bucket leaks water, and then wonder why it never fills. Most people think the rich are born with advantages the rest of the world never gets. But here is the brutal truth almost no one wants to swallow. If you can't manage a small income, a bigger paycheck will not save you. It will expose you. Wealth is not a miracle of salary. It's a mirror of behavior. A person making modest money who handles it wisely will quietly climb the ladder, while big earners who lack discipline slide backward without understanding how it happened. People tell themselves lies every month. Once I earn more, I'll start saving. Or, when I get a raise, I'll invest. But the habit of financial intelligence never begins later. It begins now with whatever is in your pocket today. Otherwise, you are teaching yourself to lose, just on a larger scale. There's something almost humorous about watching people cross income thresholds. The moment a job pays more, they upgrade their lifestyle faster than the money arrives. New car, nicer apartment, shiny toys. Dinner's out. Everything except assets that might lift them higher. It's financial inflation by ego. The gap between earning and spending should widen as you grow, but for most, it shrinks to nothing. They finally make more, and suddenly they feel they deserve more. But money doesn't care about feelings, and wealth doesn't reward entitlement. It rewards behavior. Someone earning a small salary who consistently controls spending and grows savings is building a muscle most people never develop. The ability to operate with discipline when no one is watching. That quiet person already understands delayed gratification, already knows how to say no to impulse decisions, already recognizes that a dollar kept and invested is more valuable than a dollar wasted. When they eventually earn more, that discipline compounds into results that look like magic. But it isn't magic. It's math, patience, and self-control. If you struggle with money on a small salary, that's your signal, not to wait for a bigger paycheck, but to sharpen your control. Your salary is not the problem. Your habits are the gatekeepers. Learn to allocate a percentage to savings first, even if it feels tiny. Learn to live comfortably within what remains. Learn to see every purchase as a trade for freedom or bondage. And as income grows, do not abandon the habits that got you there. The people who become wealthy are not the ones who get rich suddenly. They are the ones who behave rationally when the stakes are small, so compounding can go to work long before anyone notices. Living dramatically below your means is not a punishment. It is the quiet superpower that separates people who build wealth from those who merely perform it. Most individuals live life on a financial stage, spending money to create the illusion of prosperity. They dress rich, drive rich, eat rich, and travel rich, all while their bank accounts starve. The irony is almost painful. The people who look poor on the outside driving older cars, wearing unremarkable clothes, avoiding unnecessary luxuries, are often the ones quietly stacking assets that will eventually set them free. The world teaches you to signal success through consumption, but real wealth is the art of refusing to spend money you don't need to impress people who aren't paying attention anyway. There is a deep psychological advantage in spending less than you earn. It creates margin, room to breathe, room to save, room to fail without collapsing. When every dollar is already promised to rent, entertainment, subscriptions, and lifestyle upgrades, you've built a life held together by threads. One unexpected bill or missed paycheck can unravel everything. But when you engineer a lifestyle where your expenses sit comfortably below your income, you gain power most people never taste: financial control. You can save, you can invest, you can pivot careers. You can take calculated risks because you aren't trapped by your own choices. Most people sabotage themselves the second they get a raise. Instead of widening the gap between earnings and expenses, they sprint to close it. They mistake higher income for a mandate to consume more. A bigger home, nicer meals, unnecessary toys. It's lifestyle inflation disguised as progress. The quiet wealthy do the opposite. They lock in their spending at a modest baseline and allow every dollar of increased income to turn into investment capital. While others work harder to keep up appearances, disciplined people work smarter to build something sustainable. Living dramatically below your means asks you to confront your ego. The ego is hungry. It wants validation, applause, admiration from strangers who do not care. Strip ego away, and you are free to focus on the only scoreboard that matters. Net worth, not social approval. The truth is simply wealth is the difference between what you earn and what you keep, what you show. Every time you resist an unnecessary purchase, you're not denying yourself pleasure. You're buying ownership of your future. And when that future arrives, the quiet sacrifices you made will feel like the smartest exchanges of your life. Avoiding stupidity, especially debt, is one of the simplest but most ignored principles of building wealth. People imagine wealth comes from secret investment tricks or complicated financial knowledge. Yet the truth is almost laughably basic. You get ahead by refusing to sabotage yourself. Debt is one of the most deceptive traps ever invented. It doesn't announce its danger loudly. It whispers convenience. Take it now, pay later. Enjoy today, worry tomorrow. Little by little, financial freedom gets traded away for short-term gratification. And most people don't realize the cost until they're drowning in obligations they can't reverse. Debt is not just a number. It's a chain that follows you everywhere, limiting choices, shrinking opportunities, and turning future income into yesterday's mistakes. The tragedy is how normalized borrowing has become. People finance furniture that will break before they finish paying for it. They drive cars worth more than their savings account. They swipe credit cards on lifestyle purchases with no plan to ever pay them off in full. Every loan carries a silent message. You are spending money you have not yet earned, and the interest you pay is the penalty for impatience. Wealthy people do not play that game. They understand that compound interest works beautifully for you when you invest and brutally against you when you owe. One side enriches you while you sleep, and the other drains you while you grind. There's a psychological freedom that comes from being debt-free that cannot be overstated. When you owe nothing, your future belongs to you. You can walk away from a job you despise. You can take a risk without fear of losing what you don't actually own. You can put money to work in investments instead of feeding banks hungry for interest. People often overlook this because the world rewards flashy spending and mocks restraint. But the real winners are not the ones driving leased cars or flashing designer purchases. They are the ones quietly buying freedom, one smart decision at a time. Avoiding debt on a small income means you often have to say no when others say yes. It means resisting the urge to chase status or comfort financed through borrowing. It means building the discipline to delay pleasure until you can afford it outright. This is not sacrifice. It is strategy. The greatest advantage a small earner can develop is mastering the art of not making costly mistakes. You do not need to be brilliant to get wealthy. You simply need to avoid being foolish over long stretches of time. And nothing protects wealth better than refusing to give your future away to interest payments and lenders who profit from your impatience. Making your money work harder than you do is the foundational turning point from merely surviving on a small salary to quietly becoming wealthy. Most people believe that income is created only when they are awake, present, and trading hours for dollars. That mindset traps them in lifelong labor because there are only so many hours a human can sell. The wealthy understand something different. Money can be trained to earn more money. Every saved dollar is a silent employee that never complains, never takes vacation, and never calls in sick. While you sleep, while you rest, while you age, those dollars multiply if you put them in the right places. This is not magic. It is compounding, the most powerful wealth-building engine available to ordinary people and geniuses alike. The tragedy is how few take advantage of it. People convince themselves investing is complicated, risky, or only for those with high incomes. So they leave their money doing nothing, losing value to inflation, rotting slowly in checking accounts, or worse, disappearing into instant gratification. Meanwhile, patient investors watch their modest contributions grow almost invisibly over the years until one day the numbers seem unbelievable. The moment you grasp that money left idle is being wasted, everything changes. Every dollar not working for you is a worker you fired for no reason. Smart investing doesn't require stock, picking brilliance, or insider knowledge. Boring, diversified assets, index funds, retirement accounts, simple compounding vehicles are enough to move an ordinary earner into an extraordinary financial position over time. The key is consistency and time. The earlier you start, the longer your money has to reproduce. Even tiny contributions compound into something meaningful if you give them decades instead of months. Most people make the mistake of looking for fast returns and lose patience when they don't see results immediately. They withdraw, chase trends, or quit entirely. Compounding punishes the impatient and rewards the stubborn. On a small salary, the importance of making your money work is magnified. You can't rely on high income to bail out poor habits. You need leverage that comes from investing, not spending. Each dollar you set aside becomes a seed planted in soil that never stops growing. In time, the seedlings turn into trees, and the trees produce fruit that feeds you without effort. When your investments begin to generate more money than your primary job, you cross a threshold very few experience. Your money works while you live your life instead of you working forever to chase money. Your ability to earn more money doesn't come from your current job title or your employer's generosity. It comes from the skills you deliberately build when nobody is watching. A small salary is not a life sentence unless you decide to stay the same person year after year. The marketplace pays for value, not effort, and the only way to increase your value is to sharpen your abilities. Most people clock out of work and mentally shut down until the next morning, then wonder why their income never changes. They use evenings for entertainment instead of education. Weekends disappear into distraction instead of development. Meanwhile, a minority treat every spare hour like an investment in their future. And those are the people whose income curves suddenly bend upward while everyone else flatlines. Building skills is not glamorous, and it rarely offers instant reward. It requires boredom tolerance, repetition, and humility. You start bad at something, you get frustrated, and you keep going anyway. Learn a new tool, take a course, read serious books, practice something that stretches your intellect. The person who learns a valuable skill becomes someone the world wants to hire, promote, or partner with. It could be communication, coding, sales, management, design, investing, even learning how to think more rationally. Every new capability you acquire becomes an engine that prints opportunity. You don't need brilliance, you need persistence. The beautiful part is that skills compound just like money. One skill makes the next one easier. Someone who learns to write clearly can persuade. Someone who learns persuasion can sell. Someone who can sell will never fear unemployment. People with layered skills become rare, and rarity gets rewarded. The tragedy is that most people underestimate how fast a life can change with just one new competency. A year of deliberate self-improvement can outperform a decade of passive existence. A small salary today should not discourage you. It should motivate you. It is feedback, not a verdict. If your income is low, it simply means the market is paying you roughly what it thinks your current skill set is worth. Change the skill set, and the market will have no choice but to reconsider your price. You are not stuck. You are unupgraded. The real wealth engine lies in your mind, not your paycheck. The moment you commit to growing beyond who you are now, your future earnings begin quietly rising long before the money shows up. And when they finally do, everyone else will call it luck, while you know it was built in the hours they wasted. Playing the long game is the most underrated advantage in wealth building, mainly because most people are addicted to immediacy. They want success now, returns now, reward now, and that impatience quietly destroys their financial future. Wealth does not reveal itself in spectacular moments. It accumulates quietly through ordinary routines repeated with discipline. The person who stays consistent, even when progress is invisible, is the one who eventually wakes up with results that look inevitable to everyone else. The funny part is that nothing magical happened. They simply didn't quit. When you're working with a small salary, patience becomes your greatest ally. You don't have the luxury of careless decisions or impulsive jumps. Every dollar and every choice must be deliberate. And here's the psychological twist most miss. The lack of instant success isn't a sign that nothing is working. It's proof that the system is functioning exactly as it should. Compounding needs time like a tree needs seasons. A seed looks lifeless for months before anything rises above the soil. The impatient dig up their seeds to check if they're growing. The patient keep watering and let time do its work. Everyone envies the person who suddenly becomes wealthy, but no one sees the years when nobody clapped, nobody noticed, and nothing appeared to be changing. They saved consistently when it felt insignificant. They invested steadily when the returns seemed microscopic. They resisted lifestyle upgrades when others were celebrating new purchases. That is the long game in its purest form. A quiet commitment to actions that look small but matter immensely when stacked over time. The world constantly tries to distract you from this path. Every headline promises shortcuts. Every trend claims to be the next breakthrough. Every person around you may say, "Why bother? Live a little." But living for the moment is the fastest way to stay stuck in the same moment forever. The long game demands you think in decades, not weekends. It asks you to trade temporary pleasure for permanent advantage. That trade feels costly in the short term, but it becomes unbeatable in the long term. You win at wealth by doing what others won't. Most chase fast money and lose slowly. The disciplined few build slow money and win enormously. When you commit to patience, your financial future stops being a gamble and becomes a mathematical certainty. You don't need brilliance, luck, or enormous income. You need steady steps taken for longer than the average person can stay disciplined. Time becomes your silent partner. Compounding becomes your engine. And one day you look back amazed at how far persistence carried you.